Yeah, I think we've got a pretty fleshed out backstory here with this bagel experiment and whatnot. So,
This is the best.
Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Emilio. That's my friend Christian. We build characters for role-playing games based on all sorts of different and generally random prompts and parameters. If you've been enjoying our show, please like, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe so you can stay up to date. And now, let's roll characters! So we are very excited today to be joined by Justin Forkner. Justin is the community manager of Mage Hand Press, and most notably, he introduced Wizmos to the world, but spends most of his time writing tweets and handling all the stuff that would keep Mike, who is the Mage Hand Press editor-in-chief, from writing. If there's ever a typo in a book, it's because he accidentally left Mike to his own devices for too long. And today we're really excited to be using the Mage Hand Press Dark Matter supplement for D&D 5th edition. I'm going to be playing in a streaming game that's also going to be featuring the Dark Matter supplement starting on August 5th. So look out for all of that, and we'll make sure to have all of that stuff linked in the description for this video. Justin, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on. So with Dark Matter, it's very much D&D in space. So if you already know how to play 5e and you want to switch it up, you want to do something other than fantasy, check out Dark Matter. We're doing great on Kickstarter already. Last time I checked, before we hopped on the recording, we were at $55,000 of a $25,000 goal, and we are well on our way to our second printed adventure that I cannot wait to see get written. So crossing my fingers that we hit that next stretch goal.
Yeah, and just to spell it out, like as of this recording, this is day one of the Kickstarter. In 4 hours, it met its goal and then doubled it another 4 hours later. Like, it's really cool, and we're just really excited to have you on, Justin. Because we're doing this Dark Matter material, of course, we're going to be changing things up a little bit. You know, that normally we do ancestry and culture with our roles. Today, we're going to be using the races from Dark Matter, and Dark Matter also uses the standard races from D&D as well, but we're going to have fun with it and do the ones that come with the actual material. So we got the amoeboid, the Avia Ra, the Nautilid, the Near Human, the Scathari, the Vect, and the Ravian. Justin, please roll us a D8 for Ancestry.
All right, let's see here. You're starting off strong. I've got a 1.
All right, we got an amoeboid.
Okay.
Right,
Amoeboid!
I am all for that.
The next set of things that we're going to be rolling for is class, and the Dark Matter and other Mage Hand sort of supplements are what we're going to be drawing from here. We're going to be rolling for an Alchemist, a War Mage, a Craftsman, a Witch, a Gunslinger, a Warden, an Investigator, a Binder, or a Gadgeteer. Please roll us a D10 for class.
Okay, we got a 9.
Okay, a Gadgeteer!
I am very excited because one, Gadgeteer is the class that comes with the Dark Matter material, and two, I'm playing a Gadgeteer in the game that we're going to be running. So
Hey!
Awesome. Yeah. It is essentially utility of the class. You're going to be really versatile depending on what you pick. They build unique gadgets, and like the Warlock can choose invocations, you choose gadgets. At level 2, you get to pick a prototype, and essentially you can be Iron Man in an exosuit, you can be Batman with a utility belt, or you can have a robot friend chasing you around.
So next we're going to roll for background, and Dark Matter has a bunch of them, 5 in fact: Commercial Pilot, Exile, Low Worlder, Ship's Doctor, and Technologist.
Let's see what happens here, and we've got a 2.
An Exile.
Ooh.
And then our last roll is gender, so please roll us a D4, Justin.
All right, that's a 3.
That is non-binary.
Kind of works perfectly for a single-celled organism.
Do you have any initial thoughts about our character?
Amoeboids are oftentimes, scientists and researchers and stuff like that. So Gadgeteer kind of works pretty perfectly along that inventive spirit. But I can't help but wonder what maybe they did to no longer be welcome in their home.
I think it'd be cool to kind of bring in some of the lore that you guys have created around the Dark Matter setting as well. So like The amoeboids, they are also the people that kind of maintain the maw stations.
Yes. So, in fact, the cover of the book features the front of a Maw station. In that little red circle right there is a portal where you can fly your ship through to hop to different parts of the universe.
I like the idea that the exile is somehow related to something to do with the Maw stations, or something to do with sort of this like kind of bigger mystery of understanding the universe.
So, they generally have this caretaking role of the Maws, and so what would be a way to violate that caretaking role? And we could even think like, what would be sort of a Gadgeteer's way of violating that caretaker role?
Since the amoeboids happen to keep the secrets of the Maw to themselves, perhaps perhaps they intentionally or unintentionally spilled some of those secrets. Alternatively, as a Gadgeteer, maybe they were trying to experiment to see if they could affect the portal and see if they could maybe get it to do something different.
I really like the idea of the Gadgeteer that kind of can't help himself and is just like, I have to try this out. I have to invent something. They can't really see down the road how this will affect them. It's just like they're very in the moment with their science.
I have this idea, and this could make it a more sort of, a fun or funny character, that this amoeboid was, experimenting with the Maws in like a very mundane way, like trying to use it to like, toast bagels or something, like something that's totally like ridiculous and violates all sanctity, of this sort of caretaking role.
I mean, I kind of love the absurdity of it. These Maws are absolutely, comically huge. We have spaceships flying through them that can potentially contain thousands of people.
Yeah.
So just this mental image of someone in this little personal ship, like flying out with like essentially a little rod that's holding a bagel to like slowly put it into the maw and then like back it back out to see if it toasted and whatnot. I love it so much.
All right, should we do some ability scores?
Let's do some ability scores.
As you may know, we have a competition for this section of the show where we alternate our roles and keep track of who rolls the highest abilities each session. And so since we have a guest today, we'll each roll 2 of the ability scores. We're rolling 4d6 and dropping the lowest. And Justin, if you would like, you can start with strength.
We've got a 7 here.
You don't have to be strong to be a Gadgeteer.
That's right, I hope. Decent dex, a 12. What's our con?
9. No pressure, Justin, but this is kind of the key role, intelligence.
15.
Hey,
Nice.
there we go.
Yes.
Wisdom. 14. They
Yeah,
are
so
wise.
this
They get it.
Charisma roll. 10. Oh, not a good day for me. Okay, well, here are our scores. So I have finished miserably with a 19. Justin, not too shabby, middle of the road with a 22. And Christian, somehow finding your groove for once with a 26.
Woo, woo, woo!
The ability scores match the kind of character we had in mind. I don't think we have to make any major changes at this point.
Maybe this character has been sort of a caretaker for the Maws for so long that they just kind of got like stir crazy and they were like, you know what? I gotta branch out here and start toasting things because obviously that is the true raw power of the Maws.
I imagine there's a scene or maybe a montage of like this character tending to the Maw station, growing older, and every day they toast this bagel at the little bagel office. They have their morning bagel, and you see them doing this over and over again as they get older and older. And the bagel is just never quite right, and some days it's burnt, and some days it's too light. And you see them like throwing out, getting more fancier and fancier toasters, and it just can't quite get it.
They're eating the bagel and looking longingly out at the Maw. Just like, if only.
One day.
Okay, so we're creating a delightful character here. This amoeboid is going to be so much fun. And now what we need to do is figure out what their skill proficiencies are. And so with the exile background, they are going to get a couple already, deception and survival. And then with the Gadgeteer class, we're actually going to get to choose 3, count them 3, from the following skills. Those are Arcana, Data, Deception, History, Investigation, medicine, nature, piloting, religion, sleight of hand, or technology. And so of those, we have 3 new ones that are for the dark matter setting. And so those are data, piloting, and technology. I feel like technology has got to be one of them.
Another important one I think that we need here is piloting, because
Oh yes, because having to get really
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
And then the third one, maybe investigation. They had to investigate like how they might be able to use the awesome power of a maw toward toasting a bagel.
They have to have this inquisitive nature if they are going to be experimenting with bagels and putting them through maws.
Oh, that was easy. So we have technology, piloting, and investigation.
Yeah. So we have a character really coming together here. Let's make them come alive for role-playing purposes and lay out the personality traits, the ideal, the bond, and the flaw.
So we ended up going with I stand by my principles rather than compromising them. And I often reminisce about my years before exile. Now, our friend here is very principled. They believe strongly in the perfect bagel, and they are not going to let anyone tell them otherwise. And that is a core facet of their personality, is their ability to stand resolute in the face of bagel adversity. In addition to that, because their original experiment was interrupted, they often spend time reminiscing about their years before exile because they want to know what happened to that first bagel.
The ideal we got here is liberty, which is I will live the way I want to. This amoeboid is, they are an independent thinker. They are going to stand resolute against the forces that might sort of tell them that, getting the perfect bagel through a maw could be done through some rudimentary gadgeteering. That's not who they are. They're not going to stand for that. They will live the way they want to. Give me bagel or give me death. That is their creed. The bond is I am still wanted by the courts. And so our friend here, they didn't get thrown out of the maw station. They were going to be in serious trouble and were, as Justin said when we were talking about this, potentially going to end up in space jail, and you do not want to be in space jail. And so they actually had to escape. They were not thrown out. They had to get away before they had to face the consequences of their radical experimentation.
For the flaw, I get in trouble with the law wherever I go. So this path started when they toasted the first bagel, the bagel genesis. But then since then, they've been trying to recreate this experiment. Maybe they've visited other maw stations and tried it again, causing the space police to chase them away. Maybe they're using their gadgeteering prowess to, make and sell gadgets on the black market to support their research. Because they have this sense that the sense of liberty that give me bagel or give me death. They're not really worried about the ramifications of any of their actions as long as it gets them to that perfect bagel.
Okay, guys, we have. Of course, the greatest character we've ever made on Let's Roll Characters coming together. And now what we need to do is come to one of the most difficult parts, which is, what is the name of our friendly, bagel-loving amoeboid?
Amoeboid names are simultaneously incredibly easy and incredibly difficult because they're all essentially symbols. So, like epsilon or pilcrow, which, things like that, oftentimes scientific or Greek symbols.
What about, are you guys familiar with an Ensō?
No, what's that?
An Ensō is like a Zen idea. It's like a circle that's drawn, and it's just not quite completed. If you Google it, you can see it's meant to be painted with a single stroke.
I love this.
It reminds me of a bagel. Also.
I'm loving the bagel vibe here.
Yeah. It's it's a bagel, but also it's an incomplete circle because the experiment was never finished.
Yes. So Ensō.
Ensō the amoeboid Gadgeteer. Justin, Christian, I think we have it. So Justin, if you would, please tell us about Ensō.
All right, so we don't know what Ensō's name was before the Great Bagel incident, but what we do know is that they resided on a maw where they lived a rather mundane life, taking care of the maw as they did, but they were really passionate about this theoretical perfect toasted bagel. So they worked to create some tools to kind of automate their job. They came up with the space Roomba and other cleaning tools to make sure that the maw stayed spick and span, while they decided to start looking into and investigating new ways to get that bagel perfectly toasted on every single side of it uniformly. Now, eventually, they arose to the conclusion that the way that they needed to do this was to insert the bagel into the maw itself to get it perfectly toasted. Now, unfortunately, this experiment was interrupted, and the first bagel was lost in space for all time. And sadly, they had to go on the run because it turns out that the space police weren't super thrilled with someone experimenting with the method in which ships travel the universe in the blink of an eye. So as they took off, they adopted the name Ensō to represent the bagel, the incomplete experiment, and their desire for liberty, because give them bagel or give them death.
Do we have our character?
Yeah, we do. We have Ensō, and so now do all of you. If you want to bring Ensō into your Dark Matter campaign, you can go and click the link below for the PDF.
Yes, and thank you so much, Justin, for joining us. And as always, if you've been enjoying Let's Roll Characters, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave us a comment. What do you think of Ensō? What do you think of the Dark Matter verse? And also let us know what kind of characters you'd like to see us bring to life in a future episode.
And make sure to go check out that Dark Matter Kickstarter. It's still going to be going by the time this episode goes up, so go get your starter kit for it. Thanks for watching.
And go play some RPGs.
Boom, 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 boom.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to bagel haikus, though.
Bagel, I miss you. Where through the maw are you? I need you right now. We've made some really tragic characters on Let's Roll Characters, but I don't think we've ever gone this dark before.
No.
This dark matter before. Let's talk about Ideal and Bond.